All about Gibbons. Welcome to Animal Chat Time. I am not ready for some reason. I don't have my animal facts in front of me, and they're not off the top of my head. I have to read these. Welcome to Animal Chat Time. Today we're going to talk about gibbons. They're super interesting, and it is the last episode of this season. We're going to have some like surprises later on in December that we will definitely tell you about, but this is the last regular scheduled animal chat time. So thank you so much for being here and for coming on our last day. Now we're going to have some people that are a little bit later. So let's just get into it and talk about gibbons because they're super neat and super fascinating. So first thing, what do gibbons look like? Gibbons are kind of like monkeys, but later on I will tell you why gibbons are not monkeys. Oh my gosh, everyone already knows what gibbons look like. You guys take over. You got this. Those gibbons are amazing. So gibbons come in all sorts of colors: brown, gray, yellow, white, black. Anything that an arboreal ape would look like. So arboreal, they live in trees. They're an ape, not a monkey. We will talk about that. There are more than 19 different species, but right now there's sort of like 19 key species and there's 4 genuses. What on earth does that mean? Basically, there's like a gibbon, and under the types of gibbons, there's like 4. There's like a pileated gibbon, which means it's kind of fluffy. There's a Western hoolock gibbon, which means it looks kind of different. There are yellow-cheeked gibbons. You can guess what a yellow-cheeked gibbon would look like. And there are some mangs. Now, those are the genuses. Under the pileated gibbons, there are ruffled pileated gibbons. And under the semangs, there are bigger ones and smaller ones. So sort of like if you're thinking of like a cat, there is, what is a good example? I've forgotten every cat breed in the world. There's a Siamese cat. And then under Siamese, there's like blue Siamese and gray Siamese. So that's sort of what we're operating with gibbons. So gibbons live in subtropical or tropical rainforests in Bangladesh, Northeast India, Southern China, Indonesia, the islands of Indonesia like Sumatra, Borneo, Java. So they live not very close to Vancouver Island. They live in this direction or in that direction if you just go like even further. They are called lesser apes, and I don't love that because they're not lesser. They're just as amazing as other. See, yeah, Mara didn't like that either. Now, instead of calling them lesser, we can call them smaller apes, which would differentiate them from greater apes or bigger apes. So what are bigger apes? We have chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, orangutans, and humans. We are a type of ape. So they're not lesser, they're just smaller. So that gives you a little clue on what they look like. They are smaller than a human. So gibbons, interestingly, don't really have a difference between like boys and girls. They all kind of look the same, which is interesting. If we think about like a silverback gorilla, the boy gorillas get the silverbacks, and the lady gorillas do not. They're just all black. And also, gibbons don't live in nests. We'll talk about where they live, but you see a lot of different apes will like build a nest, including humans. If you look at my bed right now, it looks like a nest. Like all apes, gibbons are, oh, that looks excellent, Birch. Yeah, very good. And so the colors of a gibbon very much are, oh yeah, leaf, so good. The colors of the gibbon help it be camouflage in the forest that it lives. And so it wants to be nice and dark. It's not like the coral or other like really kablam animals that we see. It's very like, it's quite subdued. So like all apes, gibbons are tailless. Unlike most of the great apes, gibbons actually frequently pair bond, and they are somewhat monogamous, which means boys and girls have a girlfriend and then subsequently a wife and husband, and they hang out with them their whole lives, which is quite lovely. We don't see that with a lot of apes. So it's always cute when we see. I will show some pictures of a mummy and daddy gibbon, and it is so nice. Um, their primary mode of locomotion is brachiation. What does that mean? It means that they swing from branch to branch. Oh, Benny, you like brachiation. You like swimming from branch to branch. Ah, what a big yawn. You know, Benny doesn't look not like a gibbon. Uh, when we see pictures, we'll see gibbons, we'll see Benny, and go, similar, similar. Now, when we think about monkey bars, we think about monkeys swinging from tree to trees, we're actually thinking of gibbons. So there are monkeys that swing and do stuff, but gibbons are the ones that are swinging on monkey bars. They're swinging from branch to branch. They have these huge arms that we will talk about. They're super neat. They can swing from a branch that is 15 meters or 50 feet away. So they can't fly. It seems like they can, but that is, they can swing so fast and so good that they can launch themselves up and they can go down to another branch. 50 feet, 15 meters. That is super far away. That is super amazing. And they can swing on these branches 55 kilometers or 34 miles an hour. So that is like, that's as fast as I can go on a bicycle. I cannot run that fast. I cannot swing that. I guess I could fall that fast, but they are swinging on branches this fast, which is pretty amazing. They can also leap. They can jump 8 meters, which is 26 feet. So they're like leaping lemurs, but gibbons, different. And they can also walk bipedally, so they can walk on their back feet, their feet, and they use their arms. They raise them for balance. So you might have seen a gibbon before walking like this. That's them like tight roping. Instead of tight roping, they're moving their arms around. It's real cute. They are the fastest tree-dwelling non-flying mammals. So, you know, obviously they can swim from all these branches, they're jumping everywhere. They are non-flying, they are mammals, and they're the fastest of all the tree-dwelling mammals. So I have been saying that they are apes and not monkeys, and I thought it would be important to talk about what on earth the difference is, because what? So what is an ape versus a New World monkey? What is a New World monkey versus an Old World monkey? What are we talking about? So the differences to know is there are apes and monkeys, and they're all primates. So I'm a primate, gibbons are primates. We're all under this big umbrella of primates. There are lemurs, monkeys, and apes in there. So the term monkey is generally accepted for two groups of primates from the Old World and the New World. So the Old World is Asia, I guess Europe, if there were monkeys there, and Africa, and the New World is North America. It's sort of like a funny way to think about it, and kind of an outdated way of saying it, but it's a bit easier that way. Oh, that looks awesome, Birch. Yeah. Look at him swinging. Oh, Field, that's good too. Oh, little baby face. Boink. Oh, Leaf. Yeah. So there's two groups. There's Old World monkeys and New World monkeys. And the difference generally is like opposable thumbs. Don't worry, this will not be on a test. There's also sitting pads. There's a septum in a nose. So the septum in your nose is the in-between bit, and prehensile tails. So there's like a couple different things that like monkeys from here have that the monkeys over there don't have, but they're all kind of monkeys. So like we know some monkeys look this way, some don't. But then what is the difference between a monkey and an ape? Why are we calling gibbons apes and not monkeys? Well, interestingly, apes have no tail. So the easiest way, if you are looking to distinguish between an ape and a monkey, is there's no tail. There's a few exceptions, there always is, but Of all 260 monkeys, they all have tails, but no apes have tails. So if something is born without a tail and is a primate, probably an ape, but there's other things. There's also body shape and size. So monkeys diverged in evolution way before apes did. And so apes look a lot closer to humans than like monkeys do. So if you look at a gorilla or a chimpanzee, they're very similar to this face and are kind of like body structure. If you look at a howler monkey or a lemur, it's similar, but it's not like, oh, look, we're cousins, you know? Also, interestingly, apes have appendices. They have an appendix, and monkeys don't. And humans have an appendix. So there's lots of things that we kind of share. Apes are generally heavier than monkeys, and you'll see this. Oops, sorry. You will see this with gibbons. They are generally bigger than they're always bigger than a squirrel monkey because squirrel monkeys are quite small. They have broad chests. They have shoulder joints that let them swing from tree to tree. So when we're looking at a monkey, typically monkeys jump, they leap from tree to tree, they climb trees, but they don't swing. Where gibbons, they love a swing. They love swinging around. There's also other things. There's different in movement. Apes tend to sit up a lot more than monkeys, and apes generally can walk bipedally. So they can walk on their back legs or just their legs instead of their arms. And again, the apes can swing from tree to tree. The movement is called brachiation, sort of like a branch locomotion, put them together and then say it differently. Like if you see it written, it makes sense, but if you say it out loud, it's just kind of weird. So apes have evolved shoulder joints, and some apes, like gibbons, have evolved wrist joints so they can move a lot easier. There's also like relative intelligence. A chimp, a gibbon, and human and a gorilla are generally a little bit smarter than a squirrel monkey, howler monkey, things like that. They're all very intelligent, but the apes are like super duper intelligent. There are quite a few orangutans as well. I keep on forgetting to mention them. There's quite a few studies that have been done that apes can learn sign language, and they have some different types of culture in their family units, and they use tools. We see that in some monkeys, but like not so much. There's a lot of different communication skills. They don't generally speak sign language, American Sign Language, to each other, but there's quite a lot of distinct talking that gorillas, gibbons, etc., will do back and forth. So monkeys typically have, like, we'll say 20 different calls. And then if we look at apes like gibbons, they'll have like 100 different calls, and all of their friends know what all of them mean. So that is also very interesting. Oh my gosh, there's so much more. So then there's like great apes, big apes, and there's little apes. So the only kind of like difference is a great ape is quite big, and a little ape, a lesser ape, is quite small. So if you look at, again, if you look at an orangutan compared to a gibbon, orangutans are very big and gibbons are not so big. Don't worry, I will tell you how big they are in a bit. In the middle of that, we do have some, like, there's macaques that don't have tails that are monkeys. There's mandrills and baboons in The Lion King that we're confused about, like Rafiki, but generally monkeys, apes. So, so I hope we all followed along. Now that we know that a gibbon is an ape, let's talk about how cool. Oh my gosh, what a handsome gibbon. I like their blue hair. They're very nice. Very good, Tula. That is cool. So a super unique thing about a gibbon is, oh, that is a handsome gibbon. I'm going to show you a picture that is very similar to that, friend. So the really interesting thing that's unique about gibbons is they have a super neat wrist. So this is our wrist. It goes like up and down and up and down. And then we have shoulders that like twist around and twist around and twist around. And so our shoulders, it's called a ball and socket joint. And so a ball and socket joint is, it can twist. Yeah, it can twist. So you look at our hip joint or our shoulder joints, and they can move around a lot. They're super flexible. Our wrists can move around, but they don't move in the same way that a shoulder can. It's sort of like an up and down and a side to side, you know. Leaf, do you have a question? Go ahead, my man.
I wanted to show you that my gibbon has green eyes and the sword, a little sharp sword.
Oh, cool. It has a tool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure a gibbon would only use a sword for justice and would never use it for evil. Because they are, even though they are lesser, they are also great apes. Yeah, so let's get back to their wrists, which they would use with a sword. Very cool. Now, why do they have a ball and socket joint? Why would that happen? Now, the joint is like a rounded, smooth bone that another bone goes into. So that's sort of like, think about your hip, think about a shoulder. It's like it comes right in like this. So it can move. Actually, this is a much better way of explaining it. It can move all around in the joint. Now, this allows for greater freedom compared to any other joint. So we can like really twist around, and this allows for a different type of energy when you are moving. There's also less stress on the joint. So what on earth, why do they have this? Well, remember that they can swing, kind of like Tarzan. That might be a dated reference, but they can swing from branch to branch. And how they're swinging is there's tons of movement in their shoulder and in their wrist. So they're able to sort of catapult themselves over the branch rather than having to hold on to a branch. Like, you know, when you are on monkey bars, you hold on to one, you hold on to the next, you let go, you hold on to the other one. They do not do that. They hold on to one, and they move their wrist and their shoulder so quick that they catapult, because I can't think of an actual better word, themselves to the next branch or the next monkey bar. And they're able to do this because everything is swinging so quickly, because there's so much movement in their arms and their wrists. So they also have very long feet, and they have a deep cleft between their hands. And so basically their hands are very, very long to go along with their very long arms. And those are specifically so they can hold on, they can like really, really grip on a tree, so they can get all their energy and they can go to the next branch really, really quick. So instead of us that we have like, I mean, I have kind of small hands, but like small little hands trying to hang on to a branch, they have this huge, like almost like claw that they can put all the way around a branch and then whip themselves to the next one. That's how they can go like, what was it? I don't want to tell you the wrong amount, 34 miles or 55 kilometers from one branch to the other. They can like, woo, whip themselves so quick. Which I think is so cool and so weird. Now, I have to go back to where I was. That is okay. So some of them have an enlarged throat sac because they do have so much communication and they do love singing to each other. Their throat sac will inflate, and it resonates in a chamber. And so instead of like really talking out of their mouth, it's sort of like an Inuit throat singer. They have a lot of voice and noise and ability in their throats that they are singing right from their throat, right down here. And they're able to like talk to their honeys, talk to their kids, talk to their families. It's time for dinner. It's time to get away from where the crocodiles are, all those other things. So their voices are much powerful from any other like human singer. And so what we've done, what scientists have done is looked at an ape or a human that is the same size as a gibbon, and we've yelled as loud as we can, and we still can't be as loud as a gibbon because we don't have a big old throat sac. and other reasons. They do sing to each other. They have like quite lovely songs that they like sing back and forth. It's very like beautiful to like wake up and hear a duetted mating pair. They can be heard about 1 kilometer or zero point 0.6 miles away, which like I cannot yell that much. And they're singing, which I think is also really cool. So they can sing for like a kilometer around. Um, oh, Leaf, that is very good. I love all like the greenery, the arboreal greenery around them. So they're omnivores. 60% of their diet is fruit, but they do sometimes eat twigs. We all need some fiber, leaves, insects, flowers, and sometimes birds' eggs wherever they can get a little like snack. Everyone wants to know who eats who when I do animal chat time. So they are so fast. Most animals do not prey on gibbons because they can't go that fast and it's just too much work. I am not going to try to eat that thing that is going 55 kilometers an hour. But when they're sleeping, sometimes they can be snuck up on. So leopards, large snakes, imagine a snake that large, I do not like it, and birds of prey will also eat gibbons. So the largest gibbon is a samyang, which remember that's sort of like a genus, that's like a whole group of them, but they can be 1 meter or 3.3 feet in height. When they can be 14 kilograms, I was gonna say kilometers, that's not right, 14 kilograms and 31 pounds. So like for a lesser ape, still a pretty big ape. I mean, come on. The smallest one is like a concollar gibbon, and they weigh about 7.5 kilograms or 17 pounds. Wow, did you draw that? Oh, Birch, that's so good. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, So they are extremely territorial, which is why they're so loud. So one of the reasons when animals are loud, well, there's two reasons for an animal to be loud. Either they want to talk with their honeys and be like, hey, I'd like a boyfriend, I'd like a girlfriend, or they want to say, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, stay away from here. I want all my resources to be mine. And so they're pretty territorial. And so they'll sing to say, this is my tree, this is my kilometer of trees. I have a good thing. I have a honey. I have some fruit. I have a twig that I can eat. Please leave me alone. They reach sexual maturity around 8 to 10 years, and then they'll go off and make their own troop. Some do. Some like still hang out with their moms and dads, which I think is kind of cool. And it's really like what they're interested in. They do live to be around like 30 to 35 years old, and they live around like a 3 kilometer area. Some like will move to a new troop, so they don't like migrate or anything like that. Once they find a tree and a good thing, they hang out in that one tree. They generally have one baby. How fast can they move? We got that. Oh, right. So they don't sleep in nests. So what do they sleep in? I love when I read this. It said they simply sleep, it's hard to say, alone or with a few gibbons huddled together, cute, in the fork of branches in trees. They sit upright and they rest. They have tough pads on their rear ends, and they rest the pads on their rear ends on the trees and just have like a little snoozy snooze. So like moms and dads will snooze together with babies. They're very poofy creatures, as everyone knows, because they have been drawing and coloring pictures. But yeah, they don't make nests like we see mountain gorillas or we see squirrel monkeys. They just will like go up into a tree. They're so on it. They so love their trees. They just go into a fork in the branches and just kind of like cuddle, and then sing a little song. This is my tree. Get out of here, and then they fall asleep. Which I don't hate that. So let me show you some pictures. Normally I don't have so many, but I just love gibbons so much. I needed to really, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of it. This is so unprofessional. Okay. So, animal chat time with Gibbons. So this is like a ruffed cheek lip gibbon. So remember we're talking about the genuses, and we were able to say this is like there's rough cheeks and there's this guy and that guy. This one obviously is in the rough cheek scenario. You can see how long their arms are, especially compared to their legs. They are super, super long. So they can get up to 55 kilometers an hour. So here is a wee little baby, and then presumably it's, I will say, mom. But you can see that they're very much primates. They have teeth just like ours, that they have big old canines and, molars in the back. Um, and, they look a little bit like Benny. This one, not so much, but like kind of. Now here, I love these pictures because this is a mom who's probably very friendly. She looks a lot like Benny, if we're honest. A little baby. You can see how long its arms are. But then there are two pictures on the side of one walking bipedally, and it's using its arms for balance, like a little trapeze artist. And then the other one is showing how they swing through the air. So you can see how long their arms are, and then you can also see how long their hands are, and how their hands really are kind of like long claws almost, especially the feet of the one on the top. You can see how it's specifically evolved to grip around branches. Both of those pictures are at a wildlife center in Thailand, and these animals are being rehabilitated to go back into the wild, which is also just so lovely to see. But yeah, you can see the one on the bottom. It's not so much like monkey bars as I would do monkey bars, that I hold onto one branch and another one. He or she is so quick because they're able to use their shoulder and their wrist to have like a whipping motion, so they can go whoop uh, through the trees, really, which is amazing. This gibbon reminds me of me when I first wake up. Hair is everywhere and not so grumpy, but maybe I look grumpy. Uh, you can see how long their arms are. They're really interesting wrists, and then also just how long their hands are. And those hands again are just like specifically they evolved to be so good at hanging on to branches and swinging. Here is a paired bond, mummy and daddy. So this is also a really interesting thing, that gibbons, even between genuses, can have babies. So there are some times in sanctuaries or even in the wild when a gibbon decides to make their own troop. Sometimes they'll go in between genuses, and they will have just like a very lovely little furry baby that's a mixture of all of them, but they're pair bonded and they'll be bonded for the rest of their life. So I just think it's so lovely. Even though we look a little bit different, we still love each other. So that is, whoop, where are you? There you are. So that is just like a lot of pictures of gibbons, but aren't they so cute with their big old hands? And so I think it's so interesting. We talk about monkey bars. We like do this when we're talking about being monkeys, and really they're apes. Really, they should be gibbon bars, and you should be going like gibbon mad. So Tula, it looks like you have a question.
What's the gibbon dance?
Oh, the gibbon dance. Well, I mean, the gibbon, I have to move back for this. I think the gibbon dance definitely has to be a gibbon that's trying to like walk bipedally, and it's going. So it's moving its arms around, and like really important to get like the wrists in there as well, so we can get everything. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for asking. Birch, I feel, oh, that's excellent. Birch, you have a question and you had a very good dance.
What is the longest distance they can go at a time?
So they can jump, or they can like run.
Like how far can they swing?
Oh, how far can they swing? Oh, that's such a good question because it's so far. Let me find. Okay, so they can swing from branch to branch 15 meters or 50 feet. So that picture of the one that was in the air, like just like flying, swinging, he or she could be 15 meters or 50 feet between of them. And they can leap, so they can like jump rather than swinging, 8 meters or 26 feet.
How far the distance they can make in a certain amount, in like for multiple swings.
Yeah,
like,
so how far would they go when they're swinging?
How the farthest distance a gibbon could go non-stop.
Go nonstop. So that's a really good question. So gibbons don't, because they don't migrate and they don't like hunt, they don't really like need to get away they don't need to go far. They just need to go fast, because they either see like there's some fruit, I want to get that fruit before my friend does. Oh my gosh, that gibbon with the blue hair, I'm very into it. I like a fashionable gibbon. So, and because, yeah, so they're not migrating. They're not like, there are some other apes that will, like troops will fight each other and they'll like go from one territory to another. Gibbons don't really do that. So, because their territory, so they can sing for like 1 kilometer, everything can hear them. And so their territory is about 1 kilometer, but they have been known to travel about 3 kilometers. They don't swim, and so they don't, they like to be close to water, but they don't need to swim around. So they typically could go from one corner of their territory to another. So that's like 1 kilometer, but like the longest would be about 3 kilometers, because there has been some tracking that they've done. They would never walk 3 kilometers, but they can easily like whoop 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 whoop. But typically they only do a couple swings, and they can swing so far. It's almost a kilometer, a couple swings, right? So they would only swing from like 1 or 2 trees to another 1 or 2 trees. So about like 1 kilometer at like 55 kilometers an hour, they can do it pretty quick. Sort of like a very long answer to your question.
Thank you, everyone. It has been so fun. I love all of you. This is the best time of the week, and I will see you in season 4 and sometime over the Christmas break. We'll hang out and talk about animals. Let's do the gibbon dance as we say goodbye.